Hi, Aaron Freeland here with a 3D project that I've been wanting to work on for some time, involving a Lazy Susan and gears. And now there's a lot of different Lazy Susan styles already out there, but a lot of them revolve around already having some type of ball bearings or marbles, or you have to have some stuff. And I wanted to come up with a version that you could just entirely print, but still works smooth enough to actually be useful. And I seen somebody that had an idea of kind of a cool idea on gears, but they had not tested it. And I've always wanted to work to create my own gears. I've not done it, and I thought it'd be a fun thing to learn. So I started looking on the internet. How do you even make gears? There's something behind it, right? And so I found an article on MakeScene about how to make gears, and it did a pretty good job of explaining the core concepts of it. And then, like most of the other tutorials online, they either want you to use an online tool to generate you the stuff or to download an application and they'll generate them for you. I like to do my own things. I like to do them in AutoCAD, and I really wanted to learn and understand more. I didn't want an application just do it for me, so I wanted to dig a little deeper into it. So on that MakeScene article, they actually had a link to a Boston Gear PDF. And there they had really good details. They also had a lot of formulas. And a lot of the different formulas, if you just had a couple key numbers, a couple key things to start with, variables to start with, you could actually just plug and play the numbers into formulas, and it would output you the information that you need. So I just started. I was like, yeah, and I think the outside diameter, so the how big the circle, how big the outside of the gear is going to be. I was like, 4 inches. That's a good start. And then how many teeth? I just came up with 28. Pulled it out of a hat. Figured 28 is a good number to start with, just to see where I ended up. So I started to plug those numbers into some of the formulas, and I figured out my pitch diameter, every little piece of information that I could. And then I went to an online gear calculator and I typed in a couple of my numbers and hit calculate and just verified. And then I was actually impressed that all my numbers just lined up. And so I was excited. I was like, all right, job's done. I got my numbers. I'm ready. It was still a little more complicated than that because once you get into AutoCAD, you still have to kind of make all the little ridges and you have to do all sorts of things to actually build the gear. The numbers is just one aspect of it. Actually putting those numbers to practice and implementing those, that's a whole nother thing. And hopefully I'll try to get a video of my AutoCAD drawings and some of the different things, and I'll try to put them in here. If not, I'll try to make a video at a later point that goes over that aspect of it for other people that would like to learn. Now, for any gearheads, it's my first time doing gear, so I'm probably not. I'm by no means an expert, so don't take it as the gospel. But it does work, so at least I can get you that far. And yeah, I think that's about all on that. So I wanted to come up with this way of printing out gears that kind of help this thing move. Like I said, I wanted to work with gears, understand them, learn how they're built, learn the math behind them, and that was actually very fun and exciting. So let me go ahead and start getting into a little bit of what I built. So we'll start out with the first piece here, which is just a circle, and it's got 4 pegs on it. Now those 4 pegs each can house a gear. So I've got 4 gears. For this first demonstration, I'm only going to actually use one of them. And you can just set it right on top of any of the pegs, just like that. And then there's this other piece right here. And you see that it has a large fixed gear that's directly attached to it, printed out right on it. And there's also this grooved ridge that runs all the way around it. Now the reason that's there is so that each one of those 4 pegs has a place to go in and kind of help keep it together. And so what you can do is you just take this piece and then you put your other piece directly on top of it. And there you can see the beginning of it. And then I can spin. There we go. I can spin this. We see the table move. Let me get a little model up here. So I'm using my son's Play-Doh. This stuff actually seems to work pretty decent. And I found a Lego shark on the floor that other bro eyes probably would have been stepped on and destroyed. So I'll go ahead and use him and rescue him. So I'm going to go ahead and attach him to some Play-Doh, just like so. And I will put him on the table, just to make it a little easier to see. And so right here you can see that I can actually just use my finger here on this gear and rotate them around, which actually works pretty well. You rotate the other direction, go the other way. So that's one way to use it. The other way is you can actually turn the table upside down, and we'll show the gear here on the side. I'll put the shark back up on top, and now you see when I spin it, the actual red gear is spinning all the way around. So this is another way to use it, like this, if you need a bigger platform. And so I was actually very pleased with how well this worked. You know, it's very smooth. The print worked, you know, fairly well. If you ever run into a time where it's a little bit tight, so if you print this model out and some of the things are just a little bit too snug, don't be afraid to grab some sandpaper. Just sand it down a little bit. It's I haven't quite learned how to do the perfect tolerances. So if anybody has any recommendations or good you know, general rule of thumb on how much space to make pegs and stuff like that, I would love the feedback, because that's something I'm definitely interested in. So yeah, that's the basic concept of how it works. So you can see that the gear just rotates around itself. After I did this, though, my brain kind of got to thinking, you know, what else can I do using the same kind of gear system? And one of the things that I'm also interested in pursuing is a little bit of airbrushing, you know, so I can actually paint the models a little bit. I'm a horrible painter. I don't envision myself being very good, but I'll give it a try to find out that I'm not very good at it. So we'll see how that turns out. But a lot of the YouTube videos I see, people have like these kind of tree structures and these different things that they put their models on, and a whole bunch of them, and they spray paint primer, you know, all that stuff on them. And so I thought of a way that I could actually reuse this whole concept using the gears. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take off the piece that houses the fixed gear, and I'm going to leave the plate that's got the 4 pegs. But what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and set my other gears on each one of these pegs. Sorry about the poor camera work. It's a little tricky. So there we go. So now you can see that each one of them spins independently. And what I did is I took the exact same size gear from that fixed base that we just seen, and I went ahead and just put a rod straight up, right up from the middle. And then what I can do is I can actually just set this right down in the middle of these other 4 gears. There we go. And now, if you take a look, I can actually just spin it just like this. All right. And to make it a little more obvious, I'll go ahead and try to put that shark back up there. Right. And so now when I turn it, right, that's pretty cool. So I've just made this little modular piece with a gear on the inside, and all 4 of these gears drive it. And so now I'd be able to actually spray paint. Now, being a software developer, you know, you try to write modular code. You try to think of different ways to approach things to where it's kind of reusable. And so I thought, you know, this post is only so useful because everyone's going to have a little bit of different needs. And I came up with a solution that I'm curious to see how if it's useful to anybody. But what I did is what I'm going to do is just take out the center piece here, set my shark off to the side. I took that same fixed gear from earlier and I printed out another one, but this time it's actually just got pegs that go all the way around it. Instead of just having the cylinder that just goes all the way up, now we have a piece that actually has pegs. And I also made these little adapters, so we can see that we got a straight adapter here. Kind of shows you what it looks like. And what you can do is you can take this adapter and you can actually set it right on top of those posts. So that was the straight up and down one. I also created one that was at a 45-degree angle. You can see what it looks like. And once again, in order to use it, you just put it down over top of one of those posts, and you can configure them however you would like. And then you take the rod, and you can actually just shove the rod directly down in there. And then you can also have one for, you know, a 45 or whatever angles that you're looking for. So now it's a little bit more plug and play. So all you have to do is download the adapters that you need, and then put them on the pegs, and hopefully that's a decent start. I also thought about making one that had two pegs that went up that you could put like fishing line and then hang stuff from. But I didn't take the time to build it yet. I was going to wait and see if anybody actually had a need for it. And he works the same way. So we'll use that same base right here, that same plate that has the 4-post. And we'll go ahead and set our model just down inside of there. Just like that. There we go. And now you can see I can spin it, and it spins all of them at once. And now it's a little bit more customizable. So overall, I was very pleased with how this turned out. It works pretty well. It's fairly smooth. Like I said, there's a couple things that I had to sand to make it just run a little bit better. But overall, not too bad. So yeah, that's the alternative use there of this Lazy Susan. I call it a universal Lazy Susan because it's got a lot of different use cases. I haven't even tried to figure out all the other different ways. I was hoping a lot of people kind of contribute back to other ways that we could use this gear system to drive other things that people might have use for. Now, at its most simple form, we can actually take all of these gears off. There we go. We just remove all 4 of those gears, set them to the side. And if all you really care about is just a plain Jane Lazy Susan, all you need is these 2 pieces here. And it's real simple. We're just going to take this guy and go ahead and put this other piece on top of it. And now you can see this there. Let me put the shark back up on there just so you guys have a point of reference. There we go. I mean, it actually works pretty well. And so if you don't even need the gears or have any use for it, or don't want to be able to kind of like rotate picture, rotate picture, rotate picture, feel free just to go ahead and use it just like that, and it spins fairly well. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'm very happy with how it turned out. It was very exciting. It really gives you an appreciation for mechanical engineering and all the people that came up with the formulas and put it down to an exact science, and just how much effort it really takes to make all those mechanical things just work. So that was a lot of fun. I'd recommend everybody to get into that. It's definitely good for the brain. It's fun, and you get a big sense of accomplishment to actually see gears mesh together and turn. So yeah, I'm very pleased, and I look forward to people printing these out. Hopefully it works for everybody, and getting feedback. And if anybody has anything they'd like to see, just let me know, and I'll see if I can do it. All right, see you guys.